Good evening, everyone. And I'm actually doing my second live for the day, and I thought I'd just do another one as though it's normally one live a day that I'm doing during this challenge. But then I just thought, I had the zeal to do a second one, so I'm doing a second one. And I thought I'd change it up a little bit because in this particular one, I want to speak about a personal story which happened to me last year. So last year, I was obviously looking at my fitness and my health, and I really thought it was something I needed to really address because I felt, fitness was something that is something that you need to really look after, especially when you want to develop yourself in different areas of your life. And I decided to actually start taking it a little more seriously and obviously looking at a way to sort of, become a lot more healthier. It's funny actually, when you set your mind to something, how sometimes you sort of accidentally come across something that will help you in the process. And what happened was a friend of mine introduced me to someone who started an online community a couple of years ago. And the online community is called FitBanker. So what FitBanker essentially does is it takes you through a process for 90 days as a 90-day challenge, where it teaches you some of the things you need to keep in mind when it comes to your body type, your health, the kinds of foods that suit your body type, because a lot of people tend to think that it's dependent on your diet, and that's not necessarily true. It depends on the type of body that you have. So I decided to challenge myself, and I wanted to lose a particular amount of weight. And the great thing about this community is that you've got a whole bunch of people that basically are from all over the world. They obviously take on this challenge. Now, one of the things about the challenge is that your first sort of challenge is you have to put up a photo of yourself before you start the 90 days. And the reason is this sort of makes you more accountable when you put something up online. Quite a daunting to do. So when I had to do it, obviously I was terrified because I had obviously all my friends that were online, all my family. But I realized, the only way I was going to be accountable was if I actually took the challenge seriously and I followed exactly what the mentors were teaching us. So what the challenge basically does is obviously after you put your photo up, you go through a certain test online where they determine the type of body that you have. And I won't go into detail there because I've actually put the hashtag for this community so that you guys can also have a look. And I'll also tag my mentor who put me on this challenge. His name is Ronnie. So when you guys want to get some more information, you can obviously go and visit his profile. You can message him. You can hear some lovely music. I'm in a cafe, so unfortunately you have to bear with that. But basically, it takes you through a series of webinars, and through each webinar, basically, they cover some of the fundamentals and many challenges that you do during the 90 days. And this is basically to test, your body's ability to adapt. So one of the tips I can give is because, people who might be watching this might be thinking this is a challenge which requires some hectic exercises, and I'll be here to tell you it doesn't actually. One of the things you can do is you can basically, after you eat any meal, you basically take a walk for 40 minutes, and you basically do that every single day. So if you can do that every single day, just walking, even a sort of slight brisk walk, you'll be amazed by the results that you can get. And the thing is, when I first went into this challenge, I really didn't sort of feel that I was really going to get a lot of benefit from it. I merely was doing it to sort of push myself because I need something to push myself. I would say I was reasonable in terms of my weight, but obviously I was not at the ideal weight that I wanted to be. And I just sort of said, okay, I'll give it a bang. I'll see, what happens over the course of 90 days. And every week, well, we had to obviously measure ourselves. We had a task to measure ourselves after a certain number of days, and you had to obviously put those results up. Now, The thing is, during that process, what tends to happen is, you're challenged to do various things that really take you out of your comfort zone, and it's something that, you think this is crazy. Like, why am I doing this, or why? And I don't understand why I need to do this. So one of the challenges that I remember was having a cold shower for a couple of days, and it's all about throwing your body out of its normalcy, out of the routine, challenging certain aspects like your muscles, your blood flow. I'm obviously not an expert, but I'm just giving you what I learned during the challenge. And, obviously, this is something that really pushed me out of my comfort zone. And this is where I started to see results. So I just want to quickly see who's on this. Watch. Desi, good to see you. Nina, good to see you. Shamin, great to see you. Ken, glad you're watching this. Donna, good to see you. I don't think I've seen you on one of my lives before. Hey, Natalie, good to see you. Natalie would know a lot about this as well. Ian, hey, good to see you. It's good to see you joining me on these lives. So yeah, during the 90 days, I basically, went through this process where I had to go through these different challenges. I had to, try various things. And the thing I need to mention, obviously, is I took it a bit further where I actually would go to the gym. I would do quite a bit of cardio. But what challenged me was the types of foods that I was eating, and when I was eating it. Because that's another thing, the kind of foods that you eat. It's not just obviously eating the right types of food, but it's also about when you eat those foods. And this is what this specific challenge actually was teaching me. So, I went through a sort of dip where in between I lost weight, obviously, in the beginning stages. And then during the process of measuring myself between the challenge, I found I started gaining weight again. And unfortunately, what happened was I got into bad habits again. So what was great was, instead of me sort of giving up and sort of losing motivation and feeling that, this is not working for me because I started gaining weight again, I basically got in touch with my mentor. So this is the other great thing, is that I could actually get online, speak to him while he was in the UK, and I could actually sort of tell him this is what happened. We had an honest chat. And the reason I'm mentioning that is because a lot of these things, where it's about your health, it's about your fitness, it's about, maybe you're someone that's building a business, you're starting a project, everything's to do with what's here, the space between your 2 ears. It's something I realize applies to every aspect of your life, regardless of the tools you have, the processes that you have. If you don't have anything that's going right here, and you sort of have a mental block where you want to approach a challenge and you're not able to get over the challenge, it's really about your mental game and how you approach your mental game. And this challenge, what it did for me was it challenged me in a lot of aspects about my mental approach towards my diet, towards my health, towards my fitness routine. And it really pushed me in certain boundaries, to the extent that when I actually started applying myself in terms of what I was being taught to do during the challenge, I actually started. And then eventually what happened was, towards the last month, when I really started taking it seriously, it was amazing what actually happened was, because towards the end of the challenge, I ended up losing 8 kgs. And if those of you are interested in seeing my before and after pics, I actually posted it on my Facebook profile, and it was something that I was really proud of. And at the same time, I was still scared to put it up, because it was like, I didn't want to sort of boast to say I lost all this weight. What I wanted to show people was that, I did this challenge. I approached it the way I wanted to approach it, in terms of how my mentors told me to do it. And the thing I need to mention is that during that process of the challenge, what we were told to do was to get involved in a group of 4 or 5 people that could help each other. So we each had to basically motivate each other. So if there was a time where one of the people actually felt they were falling behind and they were sort of feeling a lack of motivation, then some of us would stand up and sort of help them through that process. And the thing is, it was not about criticizing the other person and saying you shouldn't have eaten this, or you shouldn't have done this during this specific time of the day. It was more about understanding what was their time and why was it that they basically couldn't get through the process and obviously carry on with the challenge as consistently as they would have liked. So this is where basically the group was really helpful, and I was amazed actually when I saw my results, and especially after I went through a dip where I gained a bit of weight, and then I had to sort of start through the process again. And it was an amazing feeling sharing, the pictures to say that, I set myself out to do this challenge and I achieved these results. And it's amazing basically what happens when you apply your mind through a process where you're being taught by someone to apply exactly what they have learned and what has worked for them. And sometimes what happens is people tend to take shortcuts, and they feel if they take shortcuts that they're going to get results. And like in any aspect, you don't obviously get results from taking certain shortcuts. So I thought it'd be something that would be of interest to people, to show you that there is a way to, go through a fitness process where you don't have to go through hectic exercises. You don't have to go push yourself extremely hard. You just have to follow certain aspects, like I mentioned, for example, taking a walk every day for 40 minutes after a meal, even if you just do it, once a day, and you do it consistently, try it for 30 days. Obviously, there's certain things you can do where you can cut out sugar for a couple of days, and maybe just don't have anything related to sugar, and just see your results, see how much weight you lose, because you'll also see the impact of sugar and how exactly sugar is detrimental to your health. Think of sugar just in terms of like fizzy drinks and things that are obviously with sweet, your desserts and things like that. But I can tell you now that sugar actually exists in a lot of foods where we wouldn't expect it. So things like your cereals, your cornflakes, even if you're not adding sugar to those sort of foods also have some sugar in them because of how they're manufactured. And the same goes for certain spreads, like your peanut butter spreads. A lot of people would be amazed at even how some of your low-fat kinds of products have sugar in them because they're added to basically give flavoring to those products. So if you guys are interested in terms of getting some more information about this community called FitBanker, you can click on the hashtag which I've provided on this video here, and I'll also tag my mentor who you can sort of message and get some more information. And just put it up front, I don't get any benefit from this. This is merely my way of sort of giving back and saying, if you guys want to find a way to sort of get better at your fitness, your health, I don't know, maybe you want to improve your strength, your core strength, whatever it is, And the beauty is on this challenge, there were a whole bunch of diverse people doing this. I'm talking about people that are older than 50, 60, people that are in their teens. Everyone joined because they had a different goal and a different objective, and that was the beauty of it. So I really hope this video gave you a lot of value. If you feel this is something that someone might benefit from, please share the video. If you feel they must get in touch with me to understand some more about this, more than welcome for them to get in touch with me. You can share my details, and as I said, I will tag the man's details or his name so that you guys can go to his profile and you can go and visit his profile and see who he is exactly. I think you should hear his personal story because that itself is very inspiring, and I heard it. So I want to thank you all for joining me. Clinton, thanks for joining. Glad to see you here. Thank you, each and every one of you, for joining me on this live, and I'll see you in another live pretty soon. Take care. Bye.